Live.
Welcome to the first ever Cook TV podcast. Basically, we're going to be taking some guests from the Facebook group The Chamber.
Yeah.
And we're going to be discussing a mix of chamber politics and real life politics.
Oh yeah.
So do you guys want to introduce yourself?
No.
Hello, my name is Bob.
I'm Georgia. I retired from the chamber like yesterday, so I'm free now. But I'm still in the community.
We still love you.
I'm still in your group chats and shit,
We love
talking and arguing with you. That'll never end.
I'm some guy in a suit who screams about the nation. Don't worry about me.
I'm worrying about you. Is it me? Hi,
What?
my name is Alec Hamilton. I am the RCP Education Secretary and also the Deputy Leader, which I feel kind of bad about, if I'm honest with you,
Why do you feel
Wait.
bad about being deputy leader?
because I don't think I'm doing a very good job of it.
Wait,
Your
you're
fine job. It's just they've. Go on, Leon.
you're deputy leader. When did this happen?
Like not long after I left.
I didn't really explode about it, if I'm honest with you. I was like, oh, that's really, really nice of you, Ollie, thank you. And then I was like, well, how do I make a good impression on this? What do I do? And I just didn't do anything. I didn't know what to do.
Just basically do what you're doing. I actually never was a deputy leader. That's the one thing I skipped, was deputy leader.
I was deputy leader for a solid 4 days after Clad quit. Oh no, I was leader after a solid. I was deputy leader for a solid 2 hours
Oh no.
because Clad. So Marcus left, so Clad became interim leader. And then she was going to leave because the fucking Nazis were in the group and the judicial board wouldn't kick them. So she appointed me deputy leader, so I'd succeed her as interim by default. So I was deputy leader of the CSP for a solid hour.
Well, I was just normal justice secretary under Sherlock and then under Guy. Then Guy resigned, and I was interim leader when Guy went on holiday. And then Guy just randomly resigned. And I was supposed to retire at the start of April.
Oh,
I just couldn't, basically. Just wasn't allowed.
you're like, what the hell?
But yeah, it's all good. Anyway, that's for those of you who's watching. If anyone's watching who doesn't know what the Chamber is, the Chamber is an online Facebook group which serves as a mock parliament. It's a bunch of different parties, and they write bills, they debate bills, and they generally get in lots of arguments.
And sometimes we get media scandals where we get threatened to be exposed.
Yeah, only
Leon, I'm going to ask, Leon, have you ever been in a party that you're not the leader of?
No, I've always been leader.
James.
I'm yet to be a non-leader. I've either couped, I've either had an attempted coup against me and then purged people, or I've just decided no one else is being the leader of this party. It's going down.
I like how you're even fully aware of your own
your own fascism.
As for Leon has got, he's everyone here except Alec has been a party leader at some point. But Leon is the only one who's never not been a party leader. So
That's actually impressive when you think about it.
Yeah, I've always been a leader. Normally, when I first founded the party, all the way back in August when I first started in the chamber, I got I got ministers, and I didn't have a proper coup against me till Sam. And then when Sam tried to coup me, it kind of failed because everyone was loyal to me, right? So he just left and then went and joined the CIP. And then it was and then it was 2 months after that, I dissolved the party because it was just it was slowly dying. And I think even if I didn't dissolve after that month, it would have dissolved the month after. So I dissolved it. I had a bit of a break, and then I come back, reformed the party under its real name, what it always should have been. But I think the downfall of the original PPA and the AFB and then the FPB was that I think I pandered way too much to the right, and then I also failed, and I rebranded way too much.
I remember having a chat with you in the presidency ages ago, where you were like, "Hey, I want to nationalize some shit," And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I might be able to do that. And you're like, yeah, but I'm in charge of a far-right party, so...
Yeah, pretty much.
Was that the Republican Party or was that the One Nation Party?
No, we were talking about the chamber in
No,
the...
we were talking
in
about the
the-
chamber.
Oh, right, yeah.
In the, yeah, like the presidency's version of the Grandee chat sort of thing.
Yeah, I was in that at one point before I was kicked out, then put back, then kicked out, then put back.
Yeah, I
The
was saying,
presidency
I was planning at one point to try and become the first person to have led, like, been the leader of more than one party. After I'm going to leave the CSP, go become leader of some other small party just for, like, the achievement. But I've realised that Leon's already been the leader of 4 parties at this point.
You can't stop that, I'm afraid.
So
I've been
that's never going to be beaten. Leon, you've been the leader of the most parties, and that's always going to be the case.
Yeah. Well,
I've been a leader of one and deputy leader of another, if that counts.
How many times have each of you defected, do you say?
Once.
Only once, but I don't like. Does it count as twice if you defect and then come back?
Yes, that's twice.
Okay, that's twice then.
I wouldn't really call it a defection, but the first time I joined, I voted minarchist, and then I found it, and then I founded the party. So
Well-
I never really defected from anywhere. I just kind of voted at something because the
You were a
election was on when I
swing
joined.
voter. I'm going to actually count that
Yeah.
as 4 defections for you, Leon. You defected from PPA to AFB to FPB and then back to PPA. I'm
Hang on,
counting
though.
that. I'm counting that as several defections.
I voted
No.
CIP at one point.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I only ever found the chamber because the CIP posted it in a conservative discussion forum somewhere.
Yeah, that's how I got into
So
the chamber.
I joined it and I was like, okay, I don't know what the fuck this all is about. So I joined the CIP. No, I didn't join the CIP. I just voted CIP. Then I joined Annis's Libertarian Party. Then I found out it was Green School Libertarian. But I was deputy leader of that for like a day, and and then I defected to the RCP, and I just haven't left the
Alec,
RCP.
how did you get into the chamber, Alec? Because the story of how I got into the chamber is kind of, how did you get
Right,
into
do any of you know who Jack Reason is?
I do. I know
Okay.
who he is.
Well, he was part of the NLP, I believe, and I've been added to the chamber a while back by him, and all of a sudden he was like, "Do you want to join us? So you can show how easy it is to make a party." And I was like, "I don't have anything better to do, so it might be fun to try." And I didn't do anything, and then I went out to dinner with Matt England.
Okay.
He was like, "Oh, I see you're in the chamber." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you want to try, being a little bit more active?" And I was like, "Okay." I don't know. And he said, "Well, we're doing this political compass thing, so put your compass down and see what happens." And I put it down, and then the RCP was like, "Hey, take a look at us." And I looked at the manifesto, and I was like, "That's really cool." And
The
now I'm there.
RCP would be perfect for you.
That's literally the one I used as well. And I was like, "Oh, sweet." I thought I was special.
So you were NLP.
No, I called myself Eduardo. No, I called you Eduardo.
What?
Yes.
I didn't hear what you just said.
What?
My
What just happened?
entry to the chamber story is basically
Glitched out.
my end of the chamber story is basically like at one point the CSP didn't have enough people to fill all their MP seats, so Clad basically asked Jamie Hall, "Hey, do you know anyone who can be an MP?" Well, yeah, I do, but she's kind of a cunt.
No, you're not. Actually, that's right. You're
yeah,
the
well,
nice
we don't
kind
know.
of
And then he was like, "Hey, do you want to join the chamber?"
No.
Sure thing.
I don't know, probably,
So I became an MP without ever having been like anything before it. I skipped straight to MP. And then I skipped straight to senior cabinet minister. And then, I mean, technically I was deputy leader for an hour. I've skipped a lot of steps.
Ironically, I was actually equality secretary. That was my first cabinet position. And, like, bear in mind, there's, like, gay people and ethnic minorities in the RCP. They were like, let's just give this Welsh dude equality. So.
Well, the Welsh need equality too.
But I was like, right, I don't know anything about equality. It's just never something of interest. So I wrote a 500-word manifesto for it in, like, 4 days. And then they abolished my department, like almost accidentally fired me, and then re-established my department. and then they abolished it and moved me somewhere else. It was fun.
I became I became equality secretary when I was already DCMS secretary, so I had two senior cabinet positions at one point.
I only had I've had 3. I've had equality was the senior. It was in our blue chat, which is our senior. Well, it was our senior chat. Then I was union devolution, which has actually been my favorite. Was actually my favorite position. That was the one where I partially wrote the federalisation bill we passed.
Yeah, that thing.
That was from my manifesto. That was all basically me trying to give Wales more power, and everyone's like, "Well, you can't unless you give everyone else more power."
To the Welsh. Direct rule from Cardiff.
And then and then I moved to Justice when Sherlock became leader, and then I stayed there till I became leader.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I was digital whatever DCMS and equalities at point for like a month.
All right.
Because the person who was our equalities before, like, I think resigned or said she couldn't do it anymore, and I was like, if no one else wants it, I'll add it to my portfolio. And everyone was like,
Mass and Empire.
I was planning to get more, but then I became leader and couldn't. Had to give up all my jobs.
I think you're really good with equalities because you care about people, and that's really important.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care about anyone.
The best equalities minister ever. Well, I guess if you don't care about everyone equally, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
All equal.
You've either got to be all loving or a misanthrope to be equalities. You can't.
Right then. Shall we get on to some sort of discussion point? Did Leon disappear?
No, I'm still here. I've just been listening while you've all been. You've just all been talking about your cabinet positions.
Yeah, Leon's never been a minister in a cabinet.
So
he's always been on top of the pile.
So I can't really join the discussion. I've just been sat here listening.
Were you panicked?
Well,
or did you just like, I know how to deal with this?
Sorry, say again.
Did you get that feeling of panic when they came up with a coup against you, or were you?
It wasn't really panic. It's like, because if we're talking about the most recent one where I purged 3 people, it was kind of like they've been going on about me. I had this threat of a coup for like a few days after the election. So I was kind of planning what to do, and then when it just came down to it, I just thought, you know what, fuck this. I'm just going to kick them, ban them, make a post so they can't do anything, and that's the end of it.
Oh wow, okay.
No,
didn't
if they
then
did
basically ban everyone?
Make a new party. And half the voters are Leon's family, so they'd move straight across to the new party.
Well, like I got 40 votes last time, and like at least 8 or 9 of them were like family or friends of the family.
25%.
So like a quarter of my votes were my family. But like when I peaked, like during, I think it was either the last time I was the AFB or the first time I was the FPB. I can't remember, but on one of them 2 times I got like 80 votes or something, and I was proper happy I got 80 votes, right? Because it was the first time I got like a sizable amount of votes. I got like 4 bonus seats that time as well, because like Dan, when Dan did it, he just gave them out to whoever.
Excuse me, I was quite proud of getting my however the fuck many bonuses in the Dan system.
Yeah, there was that one term where you just got shitloads of bonuses, and
I got more than almost all the other parties put together, like single-handedly. No one else wanted to do debates for the CSP that month, so I was just like, I'll do it, I guess, if no one else wants to.
Well,
but when I was debating, every time I would look at it was the fact that you were debating, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I remember.
I was like, no, please.
I remember the first debate I had against Georgia, and I was like, "You're really, really stubborn with this one point. I don't know how to fight that."
What debate was that?
What is that echo?
Oh god, I can't even remember anymore. I think it was the homelessness one.
Oh, that was a fucking horrific thing.
That was it was
goddamn bill. The Lord
was that which version of the homelessness bill was that? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Probably the first one.
Yeah, I was. I think there was
The
debating.
homeless bill is a curse.
I think I was basically saying on that one that it needed to do more, but it didn't go far enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what the point was. And I was like, well, you can't. No, you went. Why don't we try abolishing homelessness entirely? And I was like, well, that's not what the bill's about. And I kept yelling that, and it just didn't work.
Yeah. That was a weird one because I'm like, I mean, yeah, I'd pass an incremental bill that does a bit, but I'd rather pass a bill that does a fuck of a lot. I don't know. Like I also didn't want to say it at the time, but it does feel like in the chamber there's a bit of a sort of apathy that comes up. Like you'd pass one homelessness bill, and then people would just be like, "Oh, we've dealt with homelessness now." If you tried to write,
It's completely sorted. There's 0 homeless people on the streets. 0.
we gave councils the ability to teach homeless people how to cook. It's good now.
When you fit like that.
None of that. Like they say in the thick of it, let's just make homeless people drive ambulances.
And then we revised the bill, and then everyone voted against it because I don't remember. We let homeless people sleep on your garden or something. No one liked
Yeah,
that.
that was the private property one.
Yeah.
No one liked that. No one liked that clause for some reason.
I wonder why.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think I remember amending that was the worst because it was just like, oh, that was awful.
Chaotic.
That was
It was fun.
that was a bill to work on, to be honest.
Pardon?
That was the
You keep
homelessness
sounding
one.
like you're 10 years away from your mic.
You okay?
No, right, no, that's my brother because
That's his voters.
Oh, okay.
because I'm poor and I live in a 2 up 2 down with 3 siblings. So like I share a room with my brother, and then my sisters are in a room with my parents because they're still quite young. But my parents are getting a sofa bed. But when I move out, and then when my brother moves out, they'll have the room. But that's not going to be for another 6 years yet
Oh,
until
wow.
my brother moves out. So
That's fucking
Did you
shitty.
kidnap the people that tried to coup you? Is that what that was?
sorry.
Nothing. Don't worry.
Should we discuss our PPA then?
Whoa.
Just for some sort of guided discussion.
We're talking about the
Yeah,
PPA?
okay.
Well,
Well, the real one.
yeah, Leon wants to make a real PPA.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've got still 11 voters so far. We've got Leon, we've got Leon Smelly, and we've got you, Kurt.
Like,
You need a few more.
Well, basically, I would join PPA if IRL RTP never happened. If the radical centrist party doesn't decide to take it to, well, the real political stage. Oh, we've finally been approved in the sport ballot, by the way.
oh, have we
Yay!
finally?
Cool. The show begins. The pre-show is over. Did everyone?
The pre-show is over.
That was the
If
pre-show.
if the IRL PPA basically became a thing, I would more likely than not vote for it because I can't stand any of the current parties. Don't align with my viewpoint at all. They're too,
Yeah.
excuse the centrist phrase, nuanced.
Like,
But like Martin and Leon's like ideologies match up almost perfectly. He's just like,
Yeah, you're really close to each other.
like, I made the group, like the actual PPA page, like back in 2015. But back then, I was quite, I guess you'd say, ignorant. And it was never called the PPA because that group I originally just used to post the classic right-wing memes that you see every day. And that's what that group was originally used for. And because I never knew what the word Republican meant, it was called the British Republican Movement at the time. That was based off the facts of the American Republicans. I had no idea what the word Republican meant. Anyway, I checked. That was only around for about 6 or 7 months until it hardly got used. But then when I properly started getting into politics, I changed the page, and I changed everything about it. And then that's when I started. That's when I started moving away from UKIP and libertarianism, and I started moving more up to where I am now. And like, I think the current iteration of my ideology is the one that's going to stick.
I'm sure you thought that about every previous version of your ideology, though.
I have. Nah, I've not really, because I don't think I've ever been in an ideology for as long as I have. Because I've never the ideals I hold now I've had for a year
That's
or
fair
so.
enough.
Well,
I guess it probably solidifies, it probably solidifies as you're coming out of your teenage years. Like your ideology is probably quite malleable and subject to change as you're going through being a teenager, and then it probably solidifies as you go up. You become, whatever.
Well, let me pose an interesting.
How far would you say that your political view has left since you first thought about politics?
Sorry, Alec.
How far would you say your political view has shifted since you first got into politics?
Oh, not much.
Me?
Mine, honestly. Leon's has gone all over the place.
I went from the red square to the green square to the purple square to the blue square.
Oh wow!
So
impressive.
So
he's on the
I've
full
done like
circuit.
a U. Yeah. You was going to say something, Cup?
Yeah. I sort of been all over the place. But to Leon, when I was you're in the first year of college, aren't you? You're in year 12.
Yeah, I'm in year 12.
Yeah, when I was in year 12, I was about the same as you, almost dead center. It's dead the same as you are in in the blue square. I started getting into politics in 2015, in the 2015 general election, by watching Nigel Farage videos. Funnily enough, watching him at the European Parliament. Obviously, we had a general election that year, so I got into politics then. And I went from the blue square to being very pro a strong state, but with strong economic safety nets for the poor. I went from there. Then I went to democratic socialism, and I nearly joined the Labour Party. That was fun. That was in the tail end of 2015, going into 2016. Then I went straight from Green Square back up to Blue Square when Jeremy Corbyn got elected to the Labour Party. 2016, and I thought, you know what? No.
What just happened?
Pardon?
Oh no, never mind. Everything just cut out for a second. It really startled me.
Oh yeah. And then I got in when I started college. I was still Blue Square in college. Obviously, I went briefly Green Square before that, but in college I was Blue Square, and then some point in college I went basically down to the Purple Square, and that's where I am now. But I was basically dead set where Leon was in the first year of college. Now I'm in first year university. So the next 2 years, your views rise a bit more. You never know.
My ideological journey, for my entire life, has just been. I think I started off I've always been left wing. I'm reasonably certain. Shit like private property has just never made sense to me on any level. I think I was Orth when I was younger, and I've just slowly drifted more lib generally.
Oh, okay.
My very boring ideological story compared to Leon's and Kiko's.
I'm not going university. I've decided against going uni. I feel like the career path I want to go on, I want to get into politics, but I feel that going to university, I'm going to get a degree I'm not going to need. It's going to put me in debt, which I don't need to be in, and I'm going to be wasting 4 years of my life basically on the piss. So I'd rather, when I'm 18, get out, start working, start grafting, and working towards setting up my political party. Because, people say you have to go to university to get into politics, or that's what I've heard anyway. And it's well, you've had major people who have never gone uni into politics. The Labour Party has a lot of people who never went to university. And then we had John Major, who was a prime minister, and he never went to university. So it's not necessary. But when it comes to me not going uni, I think because I'm not going university, I don't think my views are going to change much because of that. Because I think going to university will probably shift your views about things, mainly because you've got a lot of different viewpoints in university. I'm not saying that I want to stay in my own little echo chamber, but I believe that I think if you do go to university, you are much more likely to change your views if you didn't.
That's true, yeah.
You know what? I actually had views before I went to university, and I found that my university isn't one of those horror story progressive universities you read about. We've got gender identity officers, we've got all that stuff, but that's just what you should have in a big sort of organisation such as university. You know, they fly the LGBT flag alongside the Welsh flag and the Uni flag and the Union Jack. But my views liberalised, so to speak, actually when I was, even though I was never against homosexuality and stuff like that, my views liberalised at the same time all of my friendship group came out as LGBT, which is more just a correlation rather than a causation. But that was in college. But none of them were inherently political, which is the interesting thing. And they were never political about their identity, but it just sort of happened at the same time. What are you going to do instead of university? You're going to go get a job?
Yeah, I plan on getting a job, and I have no idea what job I'm going to get, but it's just going to be something that I can get some money in. I can maybe get somewhere to live, and I can just save up because I've got a small fund that I'm getting when I'm 18 off my nan because she's been saving for me as she's doing with all my nan's saving. She started a fund for me that she puts money into, and it's been going for like a couple of years now.
Are we doing it through PayPal?
It's through a bank. It's like a savings account.
Yeah, my nan did that for me as well.
Yeah, and when I'm 18, I'm gonna have like $3,000 or something, so I can use that to like kind of basically like driving lessons,
register your party,
register my party because it's only £150 to register.
Yeah, it's not very expensive.
Not expensive at all. And then I'll have that money I can use to save as well. But yeah, I'm thinking of just getting onto the graft, and then I'm going to found it pretty much as soon as I turn 18. Maybe a couple of weeks after I turn 18, I'll get the forms and whatnot, and I'll properly register the party. So I've made sure I've got it registered, and then I'm planning on, depending on how on growth and whatnot, I'll be running as a councillor in my area by 2022, depending on obviously what happens. Stuff can change obviously, but that's kind of my plan for the next few years.
That's really, really cool. You really thought it out.
Remember though, Leon, you need to get, I think it's at least 2 other members to be
yeah, you need 3 people pretty much to found it. So yeah, like
It's the family.
His mum and his dad.
Yeah, you need, because you have the leader, you need the treasurer, and you need like, I think it's like a chairman or something like that.
Selection officer or something, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's something like that. I can't remember but I know you definitely need the treasurer and you need the leader, but then you need something else. And I can't remember the other thing. You need them 3, and I think you can actually do it with 2, because I think one person can be the treasurer and like the selection officer.
The other one can double up. You do only need 2 people.
Yeah.
I was going to do it back when I first got into politics.
This is the best game.
But I just decided against it because I just haven't got around to doing it, basically.
You want to see my hot thing as well?
My main issue when it comes to the PPA is growth, because I'm a bit unsure how I'm actually going to like get the word out there. I'm probably just going to go along like classic routes, canvassing, posters. Like where I live, there's a massive motorway, and there's a bridge that goes over the motorway. So I'm thinking what I can do, a bit cheeky of me, get a banner, one of them huge banners that you see, that hang off bridges, slap one over the bridge.
Yeah, but you might get arrested for that.
No, you can get permission pretty easily for stuff like that. I had a look online. It's not hard to get permission to like put posters up or anything. And even then, like if you go around slapping posters on like empty walls and lampposts and whatnot, the police aren't going to come round to your house and knock it in.
Tony Anderson from the SPP asked you, Leon, if you're going to be okay with giving other people responsibility.
The chamber politics and real politics, like the way I'd run it, is completely differently. The only reason I kind of run the party in the chamber as often as I do is because, like, I believe it's like on a Facebook group, it's the best way to keep stability, so you don't just die. But like when it comes to like real life politics, when I've got the party, I'd probably trust people a lot more. like if they were close within the party, because then I'd know they've actually got some like what do you call it? Loyalty, I guess, to the party. Yeah,
And the stake.
yeah, obviously, because like if they don't want to see the party go unstable, because then we'd lose, because then we'd probably drop in support, and people would move elsewhere. But the biggest threat to my party is going to be the system, because the first past the post as a system is horrific, and it's not going to help me at all. Funding I can do myself, and like growing, like getting the word out there, I can also do. It's the system that's probably going to screw me over in the long run.
It might. The chance it will, but I'd recommend you are from the 21st century, which means that we have the great advantage of being really technologically advanced. You can really get the word out there with technology, because most of the parties are quite traditional.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get emails from the Conservatives going like, "Oh, look at what Labour did," and I'm like, I don't really check my emails.
Yeah.
Get yourself a Twitter or something. It'll be great.
That's kind of the reason I've like why I put videos up. Like I did a big break of like 6 or 7 months where I didn't put up any videos. But like the whole idea of putting the videos up is so I've got so I can try and grow support as much as I can before I actually found it. And then when my beliefs come into it, if people want to try and look back through my political history, then the earliest time that they'll see, shut up, Lewis. The earliest time that they'll see my politics starting is that page and all the videos on that page. So they'll be able to, they won't be able to like claim I'm flip flopping or whatever on my policy.
Tony called you a dictator, Leon.
True. Leon the fascist.
This is slander or libel. It's one of the two.
Or defamation.
It's libel.
Libel. It's libel.
Libel is written.
Like I said, what you need to do, like I said previously, is focus your campaigning when you do start it on areas with non-first past the post electoral system. So, like I said, where I live in Wales, I think I live in an old mining village. I live in Pontypool, between Pontypool and Blanavon, and basically there's massive scope for something like a PPA because UKIP is the second biggest party here, and UKIP is dying. To be frank, it needs something to fill the gap because a lot of people vote Labour traditionally because we're an old mining village. Big Pit, which is one of those famous mines in Wales, is just up the road. I pass it every day on my way to work or to uni. But Labour is also not gaining in popularity in Wales. It's just like this last local election, it didn't gain a majority for the first time, I think, since the Assembly was created. I may be wrong on that, but that's just off the top of my head. And, it's just slowly people are getting basically bored of Labour in Wales and they need something different, but they'll never vote Conservative.
Yeah, I think people in general across the country are getting fed up with like the major parties. And I think especially in places like Wales and like the poor areas, people don't vote. They don't, because they know they can't vote anything else unless an alternative comes along. And the thing is, there isn't an alternative right now. Like, you've got Labour and you've got the Tories, and I don't know many people like in real life who actually like them.
Monster leaving Looney Party for the win.
But like for example, my nan, she voted UKIP in 2015, and in 2017 she decided that she went to vote UKIP because she hates Corbyn. Now she would have she voted Tory and in 2017, and she only did that because she knew UKIP wouldn't win in our area. So like areas, my area is a Labour safe seat. Like they've always got Labour's always got 10,000 more votes than the second candidate. So areas like mine, like there's very little chance I can gain the support unless I actually get out there, which is hard to do in areas like this, mainly due to the fact it's always been Labour. A lot of these areas around Manchester have always been Labour. They've never moved from Labour since like probably the start of when Labour was created. So if I am ever going to
where I'm from, where I lived the first 18 years of my life, where my mum lives, the constituency has been Labour since it was created in 1986 or 87, and it's been a Labour safe seat since then. It's mad.
Yeah, it's loads of areas like that. And then, like, besides the major two, you've got the Lib Dems, who are pretty much a major party at this point. They like to claim they're an alternative, but they're pretty much a major party, given their actual size. And then after that, you've got all the smaller parties. So you got the Greens.
I'm back now, guys. My house phone's ringing. Carry talking. I'm back now. My house phone's ringing.
Your house is raining?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but then you've got you got like the Greens, you've got UKIP, and you've got them smaller parties. And then in Scotland, obviously, you've got the SNP who've dominated up there. So there's people are just getting fed up, I feel. Like, I talk to people every day, local people, and like that they don't know what to do anymore when it comes to politics.
It's nice that you're like interacting with your public, more or less. As a politician, that's quite important. So you're doing a really good job already.
Yeah, it's not like loads of people. It's like 10, 15 people I know.
Yeah, there's still people when people talk.
Yeah, and like, I near my school, or my sixth form, there's a shop, and it's changed hands like a few times now. But like, it's a middle-aged couple. It's like a middle-aged couple and their mate who've taken over the place. And I go in there pretty much 5 days a week because I got buy a drink or whatever. And I'm speaking to them pretty much every day, and like they were telling me that when it comes to the next general election, they're not going to vote. And when it comes to the council elections, they're not going to vote because they don't feel that they can vote for anything anymore, just because of what's happened with the parties.
That makes sense. Good, what do you think?
I'm having an RPG. Bag's having an RPG.
What?
Georgia?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
I get it. So
On the PPA and your chances.
On that, on politics.
On politics in real life, I am mostly apathetic at this point, to be honest. I used to care, probably. I don't think I really do anymore because it's like there's not much of a point.
18 heavies. Has anyone
Like the chance of a political movement coming up and actually having some popularity, which is both filled with people who don't suck and with an ideology I like a lot. It's so slim. And the chance of that movement actually getting any deal of success is even slimmer. So like at this point, I'm just resigned to writing books and debating on the internet.
I think your books are really good, though, so you're doing something right.
Sorry?
I think your books are really good, so you're doing something
Oh,
right.
thanks, Alec.
I dropped heavies.
At least I've
I'm
got my books.
I'm not apathetic to real life politics as such anymore. I more look at it with a face of despair.
No.
I think that there's going to be a new rise of ideological movements, sort of akin to the rise that we saw after the First World War,
Sure.
but not as drastic. I mean, on one hand, major world peace initiatives like North Korea and South Korea. On the other hand, we've still got Syria, you know. But the government and the global systems of the world are not really doing much about it. And the ones that are either ideological maniacs or dictators. You know, they're either Trump or they're Putin. So it's a dangerous time to be alive, in my opinion, really. But it's simultaneously probably the best time to be alive.
Being unborn now, I think.
Like I'm going to go into politics at some point in my life. I'm going to try at least. I'm going to try and go join the military after university, and then after I serve time in the military, I'm then going to go and stand for politics. But you know, the question is, who's there to vote for? For many people, apathy is on the rise because since the election of Corbyn, in my opinion, both of the major parties, the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, have returned to their older ideological roots. I think the Labour Party have gone more to the pre-Blair era to the old pro-workers stance, and the Tories have returned to their evenly more traditional stance.
Yeah.
Back to the 60s.
Well, Blair coming in and pulling Labour towards the centre essentially forced the Tories towards the centre too to stop their ideological base from being attacked.
We are more middle ground than you are.
Exactly. But with Corbyn, he sort of dragged them back to the left. So Theresa May came in and thought, all right, then we'll go back to the right rather than going to the centre.
I prefer a Labour that's on the left, obviously, personally, as opposed to the centre function.
I wonder why.
Sadly, though, it seems like a further left Labour is less likely to be successful right now.
Yeah,
Britain
definitely.
isn't an inherently far left country. You know, I read once that Marx thought that London was going to be the first to fall, but it wasn't.
I don't think countries have inherent. I mean, yeah, the people of Britain has for a long time been quite a right. Well, when you're leading the capitalist industrial revolution, you can't really end up super socialist. We've got a long history as well of Britain of when the situation for workers gets really crappy. There is always a bit of give from powers that be, because we always
have a
had
history of
capability
sort of
to do
doing
that.
dodgy shit and then leading the way in stopping everyone else doing dodgy shit.
Yeah.
It's the way I see it. Like,
Well, it's like during the Industrial Revolution, we were winning, as it were. We had a shit ton of factories and crap. And when you're so far ahead of everyone else, you can afford to, okay, let's have minimum fucking workers' rights. Let's stop children from working in coal mines. Let's do some of these popular reforms that we can afford to do on the geopolitical scale because we're already in the lead quite comfortably.
but I don't think Britain's going to ever vote in a socialist prime minister.
No, I agree. I think Britain,
Not in the current culture, anyway.
no, I think
Oh, yeah, no,
Britain,
no chance.
especially within the working class, I feel we're more. I guess we'd be more. The working class, in my opinion, is a lot less.
Yeah,
left
Britain's
wing, but
working class is cucked.
they're not. I don't think the working class in Britain is either left or right wing. We're kind of just.
There.
Well, yeah, well, like I think we're more socially conservative. The
Radical
working class-
centrist party. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, the radical centrists are liberals, right? And I don't
Yeah,
think.
The people of Britain aren't great fans of neoliberalism either, that's for sure.
I'm far from a neoliberal.
No, Cook's not a neoliberal, but I mean like just liberals in general. I don't think the working class are very.
I'm not making any allegations about your ideology. Don't worry.
Don't bring
I wouldn't accuse you of that.
I don't think the working class of Britain are socially conservative. I think they're socially about 1980s liberals. Like we all like society. We were having a discussion yesterday. I think the British culture in general and the society as a whole is basically accepting of everyone, as long as everyone's a bit quiet about everything. But that's the British way.
I think what Leon's saying is that we're sort of progressive but authoritarian almost.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I couldn't think of the word for it, but I just said social conservative as kind of a feeling.
Progressive but authoritarian is like almost the status quo in most of the world. Like,
but I don't think, and I think what's hurt the working class more than anything, and why they've kind of not been able to drift towards a party, in my opinion, is the massive growth of globalism. Because I think globalism and globalization has grown massively since probably the 70s. And because of its growth, yeah, maybe as a as a whole, as a country, we've improved. But like the people at the bottom, like the working class, they've kind of stayed where they are. They've not really like the idea of social mobility hasn't kind of worked in the past.
Yeah, social mobility's died in the last 40 years almost.
That's what we need to bring back, is the American dream, basically.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no one's against social mobility, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's we need to bring it back. That's the problem. The rich are too busy sending the poor to die on their behalf.
Sure.
Yeah. What we need.
I think almost everyone wants there to be social mobility.
Some of you
I would disagree with
willing
that.
to make that.
I think, as in most people who are like honest or not honest.
Yeah.
Most people would
I think most
pretend
rich people
to.
don't want even more rich people.
Oh yeah, but like they pretend to, ideologically in the political sphere, they say yes, we want this. Like it's a popular idea, is what I'm getting at.
But everyone wants it, but no one actually does anything, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
because the people who end up getting empowered don't actually want it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the issue.
Yeah. Like when you.
Do you have any more questions?
What, Alec?
Do we have any more questions? Or have anyone
There is-
else?
Tony Anderson asks, back to the chamber, who is the best leader and why is it me?
The best leader currently is Ollie.
Yeah.
The best leader, past or present, is me.
I actually think the best leader in the chamber was Theo.
Theo was really nice. I never got to serve under him, and I was really frustrated by that because I came in after Charlotte got elected. Like literally, the
Yeah.
moment I got elected, I got added in.
I know. I think Theo is the best leader. He was the most successful leader I think we've ever had.
James
think-
Craig is pretty good. He was leader for about 9 months, wasn't he?
Well, he's the longest serving leader.
Yeah.
But I still think Theo was the best leader we've had. Sorry, Leon, and sorry myself, and sorry, Georgia.
You haven't experienced I don't know who the best RCP leader is, and you wouldn't know who the best whatever Tony leader is.
It's Morgan. Morgan's the best.
Yeah,
leader.
I
He's
forgot
Welsh.
my fucking name. I think the best PPA leader is Sam Johnson.
It was Sam. Sam. Yeah, it was Sam.
Leon's a close second.
Yeah, but back to the chamber. No, let's not go back to the chamber.
Back to real life.
All right, back to the real world.
We've all been hiding.
I'm kind of detached from British politics, full stop, because I'm out here in fucking Guernsey,
Captivating bastard.
where I'm like, I might be, we don't have political parties here. We don't have.
Can I publicly complain about the amount of VAT I had to pay yesterday?
You can.
You can. We don't have
very
that
upset.
here either. So
I'm still very upset. I had to pay £133 of VAT.
Why?
That's
we
a
don't
lot.
pay VAT full stop in Guernsey. It's not. We don't have a value added tax down here.
I'm moving to Guernsey and repurchasing my
Moving
guitar
to
down there.
Like literally, when you buy something off Amazon, even they have to refund you your VAT. It's great.
You got
That's
cash back from
That's a,
Amazon.
Did you get that scar?
that's a lot of VAT.
What did you buy?
What?
I agree with the idea of VAT, like in principle, but that's a
I
lot.
kind of don't. I don't like flat taxes.
What did you buy that caused that much VAT?
Oh, my
It was a
£800
guitar,
guitar.
wasn't it?
Oh, well, yeah, I remember you mentioning that. That's pretty cool.
I was having this argument with I actually met one of my old friends from college in the guitar shop.
Mhm.
He looked confused as hell because he doesn't play guitar. He was in there buying strings for his friend. And then I messaged the old college group chat when I got out. And I was like, are Labour going to abolish VAT because he's a Labour Party member? He was like, no. And I was like, well, so tell me a party who will. I wasn't just going to go and vote for the Libertarian Party. So LP UK to abolish value-added tax because that's a lot of tax.
Yeah. Yeah, VAT kind of sucks.
But what's funny is I'm a student, so I'll probably get it back in September anyway. And grant through.
Oh, wow. This is really impressive. Is everyone here up north, aside from me?
No, I'm from Wales.
Oh, gotcha.
Guernsey.
Well,
I'm not even from Guernsey. I'm from Hampshire. I moved to Guernsey.
by the
I'm
traditional
probably the
north-south,
most person here.
the north-south divide technically puts Wales as the north, but I'm
Ooh.
from South Wales, so I say no.
You're from South Wales, so you're definitely.
Like Hereford is like a 20-minute drive away. It's not the south, then it's not the north. Leon's from the north.
I am from the north.
I would have thought Wales is culturally distinct to both the south and north of England.
Well, yeah, we get pissed off when people compare us.
Yeah.
Like
What annoys me?
What people complain England?
my pet hate about being Welsh is everyone saying, "Oh, is Wales in England?" Like I went to the I went to Italy in 2015 with my family, right? And I went to the Vatican. We walked around the Vatican. If you've ever been to the Vatican, it's packed.
Yeah, that's awful.
So I was walking around and I accidentally bumped into this old lady. We both said sorry to her, and she was Canadian. She was like, "Oh, so we got to talk," and she asked me where I was from. I said, "Oh, I was from Wales." And then I had to follow up by saying, "In the UK." She's like, "Oh, no, I know where Wales is from." She was telling me about this random Welsh fella in her village that is from Wales, and he walks around as some pervert singing every night. But that is actually the main reason I wanted to put Wales on, the Union Jack or Union flag, whatever the fuck you want to call it, was because Wales formed the oldest part of the Union that became the Great Britain and Northern Ireland. In 1536, we had the Laws of Wales Act, which actually it was the only reason that it became incorporated into the Kingdom of England was so that we could have Welsh people sitting in Parliament. Because don't forget, the Tudors were a Welsh family. Henry VII was from Pembroke, which is
and so was what's his name, Henry V.
Yeah. Henry VII, obviously Henry VIII, brought in the 1536 Laws and Wales Act, and they incorporated the Welsh territories into the Kingdom of England, and they did it so that it would become the Welsh people could sit in Parliament. It would be the equivalent of doing it to America, basically, and that's why Wales doesn't have a distinct legal system. Wales runs under the English legal system, whereas Scotland, for example, runs under the Scottish legal system. Because we're so old, the union between us is so old that there was never a point. Wales never had a centralised government before we became incorporated into the Kingdom of England. And the main reason I want to put it on the flag is because there's just no representation internationally for the Welsh. I remember back in 2016, I was watching Cameron on, I think it was Letterman, or one of the one of the late night American TV shows. And the American guy was like, "Oh, what's the deal with the Welsh?" And I'm just like, "Get fucked," basically. No one knows. So that was basically the whole reason that I want to bring Wales more to the international stage. The most exposure we've ever had was Obama visiting, and that's sad. Yeah, Oh, and we've got Doctor Who, so
I don't think we should put Wales on the Union Jack, but maybe we should fly the Welsh flag a bit more around the Union. You know what I mean? The Welsh flag is very cool. I enjoy looking at the Welsh flag. Like, there's a bloody...
Sorry, how would you incorporate the Welsh flag into the Union flag? Is what I'm interested.
You can put the dragon in the middle.
You don't have to just put the dragon in the middle. For example,
I want a cute looking flag.
The Union Jack is a mixture of the three crosses of the three patron saints of the Great Britain.
Scottish Sultan, fucking in the English and Irish flags. Yeah, English and Irish crosses. Yeah.
St. George's cross.
St. Andrew's cross and someone else. Yeah, St. Patrick. Yeah.
Well, St. David's got a cross as well. We've got a black and
it's like black and yellow, right?
Yeah, it looks awesome, man. There's also the logo of the company I work for. But you could.
I'll look it up, see if I can find a Union flag with St. David's cross.
It looks pretty cool, but like what annoyed the sort of root cause for this this viewpoint of mine was actually the Scottish referendum. During the Scottish referendum, they were talking about how they would redesign the Union Jack, and none of the new designs that were proposed had Wales incorporated on them.
Who are you really angry with?
I got really pissed
off.
This is
pretty interesting. I've got one that just puts like the yellow cross outside the red cross on the Union flag.
Yeah.
That looks alright. I'd go with that as a flag. I'd take that.
Like, I wouldn't put the dragon on there because it wouldn't work.
Because that would look horrific.
Like, it's my YouTube channel, but it would be horrific. I think it looks cool, but it doesn't work as a vexillological perspective.
Yeah.
What about, okay, I want to send them to the chat again.
Yeah.
That's one of the concept arts. It's not a particularly great concept art, but it's a flag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Hang on, where is it?
Facebook.
I've got. We're sending flags to our little planning group channel.
Oh, okay. Hang on. My Wi-Fi wasn't going to my phone for some reason.
Yeah, I'm just making life very inconvenient.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that one's pretty cool. With St. David's Green on it. I've seen that one before. But yeah,
it's eye-catching, to say the least.
Well, exactly, and it doesn't look awful. But that is the entire root of that, and also the fact that I had this quite heated discussion with someone in the RCP. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Sam, not Sully, the other one, Grankin. About Wales should be represented more. And it's the only time I ever sound like a communist Welsh nationalist independent is when I'm talking about the stuff that London has done to Wales, and the fact that the entirety of Wales was shunted aside. There was one point in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when Cardiff Bay had 500 ships a week a week or a month, one of the two. I think it was a month. 500 ships a week won't work on it. A month, and now we don't even get that in a year because they moved all the trade from Wales once we ran out of coal reserves out. Obviously, we were bringing in the trade, the imports from other nations. They were going to Cardiff Bay. We were exporting shit tons of coal. But then as soon as they shut all the mines down, we weren't getting the trade coming in, or we weren't sending the coal out. So now we don't even get 500 ships in a year. Whereas the places like Liverpool and Portsmouth, they get shit tons of ships. But Cardiff,
Ship tons?
shit tons of ship.
Perfect.
But yeah, that is the entire basis of my very, very strong Welsh patriotism. But
Yeah.
I don't hate on the rest of the UK for it. I'm also a strong British patriot. But that's that, basically.
There are some really fucking horrific proposed flags as well.
Are you still sending them?
Oh my word!
If
I'm searching for flags. I found a really pretty gruesome one. One sec.
Oh, Sam Grankin is watching. Hey, Sam.
I do think Wales has been fucked over for too long. Like I can't think of a time, like especially in like modern history, where anyone's really brought anything up over Wales. They've just kind of been.
They're
They've
a really
just-
good animal.
They've just kind of been a thing on the side that we've not really talked about, and we've tried to ignore them. And like I think that's why, like Plaid Cymru, is pretty big in Wales. I've heard, given it is a Welsh nationalist party.
Yeah, they got 4 of our seats in thingy, but they're both liked and they're hated. They're a mixed bag because they want independence. And the problem with us Welsh people, at the end of the day, most of us are still loyal to the crown, so to speak.
Yeah,
We still want Britain. We still want the Union.
yeah,
Britain voted to leave the EU because we see that, we saw that it was better to stick with, you know what I mean? And Plaid Cymru, they want to leave. Here's the thing: they posted the other day that because of the European referendum result, we must have a Welsh independence referendum. Did they not check the results? Wales voted to leave.
Wales and England voted overwhelmingly to leave, I believe.
Yeah, like
And it was mainly
Scotland and Ireland, they should have their referendums. That's my take on it. Because they voted to remain. There's an issue there. But Wales and England, we voted like we've always voted. We voted together because despite all the anti-English or anti-Welsh feeling, at the end of it, most of it is just sort of friendly banter. We still believe that the Union is still the better solution to everything else. Like I said, because it's over 600 years old. Like, for example, my stepdad is English, and so is my stepmum. And my stepsisters and brothers are all English, and also I'm Welsh. But there's never any animosity or anything like that. Like the Scottish and the English, they genuinely have quite a bitter rivalry. Whereas the Welsh and the English, I find, don't. They have bitter sometimes, but it's usually quite good fun.
It's a more friendly rivalry, you can say, I think.
Yeah, just banter. What on earth is that flag, Georgia?
It's a proposed union flag with Wales.
I just checked the group chat. What the fuck is that?
what's that?
It's really horrifying to look at. I'm really sorry, but it's really bad.
I just found it when I was searching. I think
It's certain points that remind me of
it's horrific.
thing. Like, what are we looking at?
I think they've taken like 8ths of the Union flag and then 8ths of some sort of Welsh variant and then just mushed them together. Can we show the viewers somehow this thing we're looking at?
We'll put it in the spoiled ballot. Someone put it in the spoiled ballot.
Okay.
I don't think you could.
I'm happy to do that.
Can you share your screen somehow?
Oh,
I don't think so.
absolutely.
Unless I can, I don't know, turn camera on but have it so the camera is a screen share. I don't think so. No.
We'll have to try and work it out. Hang on. I'll send it to the Mussolini chat. That sounds bad.
Yeah. Coco, would you call yourself a Welsh nationalist or a Welsh patriot?
It depends on your definition of the term
Republican.
patriot. I'm not a Welsh Republican. I'm still a staunch monarchist.
Yeah, he wants to be the king. We've established this a long time ago.
could be the thing.
It depends on your sort of viewpoint of patriotism versus nationalism.
Because
Go on.
Because I would call you a British nationalist and a Welsh patriot, because to me, nationalism is about unity, and I believe if you are a unity around Britain, but I believe if you're, for example, if you're an English nationalist, like the English Democrats, you'd want independence, like the Scottish nationalists want Scottish independence. When it comes to Britain as a whole, if you're a British nationalist, I believe you want unity for everyone within Britain.
It does make sense to say that if you're a nationalist, you want there to be a nation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think patriotism can therefore be ascribed as a more general sense of love.
But I also want a Welsh nation. I want a Welsh nation inside the British nation, because the United Kingdom is technically a union of nations, which is where the terms nationalism and patriotism get confusing when you apply them to United Kingdom.
I guess you can say sovereign nation then.
Constituent nations is the correct term.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying as in you like if you're a nationalist for something, you might want a sovereign nation of that.
Yeah, I would call the United Kingdom the sovereign nation, and England, Scotland, and Wales the constituent nations.
Like I think Welsh nationalists more generally would want an independent Wales.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm more
a Welsh nation as a part of a greater British nation.
Yeah, that's why I'm more likely to consider myself a Welsh patriot rather than a nationalist.
Yeah.
Because if I call myself a Welsh nationalist, I'll be called a Republican 90% of the time.
You could be a monarchist, separatist, nationalist thing. You could be like, I want to establish
Morgan.
I want to establish an independent Welsh monarchy.
Welsh kingdom.
Yeah, kingdom of.
We never really had a kingdom. We had the earliest signs of the Welsh kingdom was when the Saxons invaded, and we all unified under the Welsh the Kingdom of Wales then. And I'm pretty sure at that time it included Devon and Cornwall, and that's why Devon and Cornwall are technically considered part of the Welsh.
They are in Crusader Kings too. In the earliest updates, Cornwall.
That's all that counts.
Cornwall is. Well, that's most of where my geographical history knowledge comes from. Thank you very much.
But it's accurate, you know.
It's reasonably accurate for like the important bits.
But yeah, that I would probably consider myself a Welsh patriot because of the reasons I described earlier. But definitely a British nationalist. But I'm an internationalist in the sense of global trade and working together. But I also strictly anti-EU and, for the most part, anti-United Nations, because I'm against the EU because it became a parliament. And I'm a strong believer in the traditional viewpoint of parliamentary sovereignty, as described by Dicey, as the United Kingdom's parliament being supreme. It's argued among some scholars that technically the supremacy of parliament was fulfilled by the EU because we gave it permission to be above us, and that makes sense.
Sure, but supremacy would also mean the permission to say you're not above us anymore.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the point. I don't think any parliament should be above us. I was very, very pro the European Economic Area and the economic community because global trade is good. But I'm very, very against a parliament, for the same reason I'm against the United Nations, in the sense that it can tell us what to do. And in a weird way, I don't like that. I agree that it's probably better in the United Nations, not in the EU sense. Because the United Nations is everyone working together, whereas the EU is a direct parliament, and that's the difference. It's the fact that it's a parliament and it's centralised in that way. It's what I don't like.
See, my view on sovereignty was like, I was originally, like, during Brexit, I was all about parliamentary sovereignty. But I think I've come to the belief now that the people of a nation should have sovereignty over the parliament. So, like, just every person should be like, for example, with the Brexit vote, because technically, due to parliamentary sovereignty, we don't matter. So, while, the governments, if they did go against the vote, their political careers would pretty much be in the bin. But I believe that the people of a nation should be sovereign over any institution. If
the people of Parliament decide to go against the vote long term, they can just call an election. They can say no more elections. They're not doing elections.
No, they can't do that.
They could. They could pass a bill to just
It's as long as I remember correctly, it's guaranteed by the.
If 100% of the MPs of Parliament decided we're done with democracy, we're going to seize control, elections or revolts or anything are going to happen, there's nothing that can stop them from.
Well, yeah, they could do that, for sure, but they can't. They can't
not call an election, but they could, in theory, repeal the bill that forces them to call elections.
Hypothetically, they could, yeah.
Yeah, they never would, because I mean, there would be a revolution at that point. They'd be like.
Remember, that would also have to go for the House of Lords and through the Queen.
Yeah,
and let's be real, it would be stopped at the Lords, which is ironic. That would be ironic, wouldn't it? The undemocratic institution.
There have been like TV shows on that basis where like Commons passes a really horrific bill and then the Queen vetoes it, and like the drama ensued because the Queen vetoes a bill.
My uncle has opened the door for the Queen multiple times.
Oh, that's nice.
Because he works in the House of Lords, and so whenever she goes in to give the Queen's speech, he's the one who opens the door for her.
Is that like his claim to fame? Like, I opened the door for the Queen one time.
No, he was also on TV.
Oh wow, opening the door for the Queen.
Yes, but also in a documentary about the House of Lords.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's quite amusing.
Definitely sounds it. Do we have any more questions from
No, we have Tony saying the SPP would be perfect for you.
Oh, the cat. Tony, go away.
Who the fuck was the cat? I think I missed out the revelation of the cat.
The cat. Oh, I think I'm allowed to say. Pete, tell me in the chat if I'm allowed to tell everyone who you are.
I know who Conrad was.
I won't do it without the cat's permission.
Absolutely.
But I do know. I think there's more than one person behind that account at this point because the original people behind the dog and the cat aren't doing it so much anymore.
Oh,
go on. Yeah, he said
go on. It's Ben Scotland.
Okay, makes sense.
And I think maybe someone else. I don't know the other person, but it was originally Ben Scotland.
Isn't Ben Scotland's real name Ben Ireland or something like that?
I don't know if that was a joke or not. That's something that really messed with me for the entire day when I read that. I was like, is that true?
I read that. Right. I read that in the Sport Ballot because someone made a Ben Scotland too with Michael McIntyre, and then someone said that his name was Ben Ireland, and I was like, what? Really? No way.
Yeah, I doubt it. It's probably just a joke.
Probably.
Could be real though.
You never know.
You never know.
It amused me greatly when his if you go on Messenger, you can customize your like Facebook name thing.
Yeah.
His is Ireland, England, Wales. That made me laugh.
He's really lovely though. Like as a person, he's really, really nice.
Oh, Ben's great. He was just really hard to replace as Home Secretary.
Oh no!
Because Connor resigned, and I was like, "Fuck." Because Connor was Home Secretary from the time I joined the chamber until I became leader, and then he left for exams, and I was like, "Fuck." And then I had to get Ben, and then I asked Ben to do it, and then Ben resigned not long after, and I was like, "Right, okay." Which is actually ironic because Home Secretary is actually my personal like dream political position. That's where I want to go.
That's a cool one.
So it was ironic that I desperately needed that position to be filled, and I couldn't fill it myself.
All about determination, isn't it?
And then we had to find a new justice secretary, and that was awful because I was also justice secretary before that. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, who did I have in Sherlock as well? And I was like, oh, for God's sake, man.
You had a lot to deal with when you became leader, which I feel quite bad about. But thank you for being so hardworking.
Yeah, but then I quit. But I'm being resurrected back from the RCP. Got added back to the MP's chat today, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Hi, guys."
We like having you.
Have they press ganged you back into being an MP?
Well, when I quit, they told me to stay in like the leadership chat and the blue chat, which was our cabinet chat. The only one I actually left was the MP's chat, and then they started using the MP's chat as what used to be the cabinet chat to get more MPs involved. And then I wasn't in the MP's chat, so they were talking about something, and I was like, "Oh shit, what the fuck is this? I haven't seen it because I'm not in the MP's chat." And then Ali just added me to the MP's chat, and I was like, "Oh, okay, hi guys." I'm not even an MP. I'm just there.
Thank you for coming back.
My retirement isn't going very well, because I'm also halfway through writing a bill.
You're really putting in. You're the most retired person I know.
I went, like Guy said, I went to the Guy Dabby Jewelry School of retiring. This guy retired, called a leadership election, and then came back a day later.
As leader again.
No, he's chairman.
Oh yeah, he's like
Funny
eternal chairman of the party at this
Yeah,
point.
basically, I did a Leon there because, like, basically, I just wanted someone to be in charge of membership, and I wanted Guy to get a good position. So I was like, oh, well, what we'll do is but we had an election right at the start, so I was like, I made it clear that this position isn't going to be up for grabs again until the person occupying it retires. And then we had an election, but the way our elections work is obviously you have to register yourself, and no one else registered but Guy. So Guy just became basically in an eternal position of power by just no one else wanting to oppose him.
Nice.
Wasn't that Ollie?
No, Ollie, that was when we had the leadership election. Yeah,
Oh, gotcha. Right.
that one about when I created the chairman of the party. Yeah, the same happened with
Was
Ollie
that
when
you
I
couped
quit.
Sherlock?
No, when we cooed Sherlock, we had Sherlock versus Guy, and Sherlock only had one vote. Then there was me versus Sam Sully, that is, versus
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember the four-way.
yeah,
Versus Stephen
Yeah.
Whitlock versus fucking someone.
and I basically smashed that election. And then
Yeah,
when
well,
I
you were the
quit-
only legit candidate. Sam was kind of the legit candidate. Everyone knew he was a fucking commie, really.
No,
And then there was the guy who kept posting anime. And then there was
you?
another one who remembers.
No, that was Stephen. There was
Oh
one.
yeah,
there
Alice.
was
Alice
Alice.
Butler ran as well, didn't she?
Yeah, it was.
No, but there was also Zachary. Zachary was a legitimate candidate.
Oh,
He
Zachary
was a
did.
long term.
How many votes did he? Did he get any?
Oh, like 4.
And then he resigned.
Yeah, then he left.
I
when
think
he
everyone
lost.
just accepted that Cuckoo was the natural next leader.
Yeah,
of
that was
the
it.
UNCP.
It was just
Yeah,
he was the
that
only
was
one.
it.
Because Steve, we didn't think was a legitimate person.
Yeah.
That hadn't been active enough. Alice was just Alice.
Alice.
That's
And then
pretty harsh to
Sam
say,
had
but-
only just joined.
Yeah, so we couldn't. It was just chaos, and then it was like, "Hey, I'm Coco." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's the dude."
Yeah.
Cuckoo represents stability. Strong and stable.
Strong and stable.
Strong and stable.
But it's actually really bad because I put up my old resignation post like 2 weeks in advance. But but when I first put my resignation post up, I actually inadvertently put it on April 1st.
Oh yeah.
Well, I wrote, "Oh, it was like a deep post," and then everyone thought it was a really early April Fool's joke. I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" But then, so I was supposed to retire at the start of April. Then when we had the chamber meetup in Cardiff, this was before I became leader. So we were talking about it, and obviously there was Sam was there, Sonny was there, Rory was there, and Callum Crosby was there. So we were talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, well, I'm quitting in a couple of weeks, so it doesn't really matter for me." Yeah, start of April, blah blah blah, and then Guy resigned, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I've got to stand now," basically.
Thank you for doing that, brother.
You had your term as leader. How was it being RTP leader, by the way?
Oh, being party leader was great. It was
I
fun.
don't know what it entails, so I hope it was really fun.
Basically, you've just got to make sure you get people to debate. You've got to make sure that the chief whip whips. You got to keep track of the leadership of the senior leadership chat.
Ooh.
And then, other than that, it's not much difference. I was both lucky and unlucky in the sense that I led the party through a term of basically total political wilderness. We were in opposition the entire time, so I didn't get a chance to write any bills or discuss any bills with any other parties. The only discussions I managed to get was when we were presenting them via other parties, like with the CSP and stuff. But other than we basically led the entire time we weren't in government, and it was actually quite annoying when we've just gotten into government, haven't we? But it's quite annoying because I negotiated a deal with Tony and Jacob, and then it was like a really good deal, and then the CLP turned around and voted to go with the free market.
Yeah.
And then, like 2 days later, they left and joined the RTP anyway. And I was like, "This just makes me look like a dick, really, doesn't it?"
Oh no.
But yeah, it was all right. The only awkward times is negotiations. I find would be a party leader. Especially when we get Sherlock, because Sherlock's an attack guinea pig. That's what we call him. Attack guinea pig. So basically, if we just want to,
Shit.
he's very fiery, which is good. It's fun.
So the RCP is thinking of going into real politics, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We started the discussion way back into Theo, because obviously we got our own party website and stuff. Then we started the discussion again into Sherlock, but nothing really happened. And then when I became leader, we started the same deal. Was they used my deal. Totally. The RCP, CLP, SPP used my deal and got into government. Bastards.
Thank you for the we appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, but we have a group chat and everything, and there was a lot of discussion, and then basically the chamber happened, and it sort of got lost. Like we were gonna rebrand and new logo and such, which we would do anyway. Because remember, the RCP, we write a full manifesto when every chamber term. Our
if I could
manifesto,
convince people in the CSP to do that, I'd be a lucky fucking person.
our manifesto is like 70 pages long.
Why do you say bubble?
No one. I was like, okay, guys, write me some sections of the manifesto so we can, have a one that's not 3 months old. And everyone was like, eh.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I've led my party the whole time. I'm like, people, we need to get some stuff done. All of you start writing stuff. Comes to like 3 days before election day, no one's given me anything. I'm like, let's just write a whole manifesto to myself then. That'll be fun. So I sit down and then I get really lazy. I write like 5 pages and then I just say, that'll do. It's only Facebook.
And then you've got a CLP and RCP manifesto, which are like 57 pages or something.
Yeah, like I'd argue that out of all the parties in the chamber, the RCP is probably the most prepared, like the most ready to go to an IRL move. Like we've got a website, we've got a Twitter now as well, and we've got a YouTube page.
So you all care, so that's points.
Yeah, and we're all quite passionate about it as well. And like I said, we have got basically something that could pass as a real life political manifesto. So it's going to be quite an easy change, basically. It's something we'll discuss, but we basically came to the agreement that we couldn't do it for like another year or two anyway.
Well, like I like when I look at the party, when I first heard that the RCP was thinking of launching real life, I thought like to myself anyway that I don't see the passion with most of you. Like you, Coco, I do, but like with the rest of
you'd really be surprised.
I don't know how to feel right now.
Because like the people who I'd think would be major in it, so you'd have like Guy, you'd probably have Sherlock, you'd have them types of people who would be at the front. But then like I don't think personally anyway that I don't think many people would subscribe to the idea. But that's just me personally, of course. But
the notion of centrism is on the rise, in my opinion, and to deal with the extremes that are coming out. Like we've actually got a fair number of people that are quite passionate in the party. Like for example, Ollie and Charlotte. Ollie's the new leader in Charlotte is the interim chief whip.
They're doing amazingly. They are absolutely stunning. It's brilliant.
Yeah, they're really, really passionate. Who else have we got? We got Sam Grankin, the chief whip who's on leave at the minute for exams. Again, super passionate. People like Joss. Even though he's a filthy European federalist.
Well,
Joss is passionate as fuck. He's great. Lloyd, who new addition, who was our deputy campaign manager. And basically, most of the old blue chat cabinet, basically the type of people you'd want in a new political party.
Hey guys, hope you're all doing well.
The only issue thing I'd ever have with the real life RCP is that I differ with the party strongly on Europe and the military, basically. Yeah. Lots of members of the party are for only like a sort of a 2.1% sort of military spending. Me and Ollie, we want like sort of 4%.
Well, that is a big difference.
Yeah. But that's the only sort of real issue I see with just myself being part of an RCP real movement is because a lot of them, or say us, them, no one retired, it's them, are basically the Liberal Democrats.
Yeah.
Who are just disillusioned with Liberal Democrats mainstreams. There's some Labour supporters, some Tory supporters, and I was the only person who ever supported anyone else, because obviously I supported UKIP. But
how do you get so many mad?
they're all very strongly pro-European. I think there were 4 Eurosceptics out of the entire party membership.
Like what kind of stopped me from ever joining the RCP was like European policy was obviously massive. I couldn't join because of that. And then I'm a massive British nationalist. You should know this already. But like,
What? I don't believe it.
no, I'm a massive
Leon, a nationalist.
I wouldn't. When I look at the,
I never had you down as one of those types.
when I look at the RCP, I don't see. I don't even really see a major patriotic fervour with them. If you know what I mean. Like I see, I'd say they're probably patriots to some degree, but I wouldn't say they're even close to being. Like if you do it on like a scale of 1 to 100, and 100% being nationalist, 0% being I hate the country, I'd say they're probably like 45 to 60%.
No, I'd put them.
I'm quite low on that scale.
I wouldn't put them anywhere below 50%. The reason you see it that way is because they don't patriot post basically. The campaign has always been focused on policy and the evidence surrounding the policy rather than narrative, because that's what we pride our party. This whole notion of a party, the party motto is ideas without illusion. So we only ever, if we were to put a patriotic policy out there, it would be an evidence-based patriotic policy.
Yes.
Not just like the CIP use rhetoric a lot.
I'd say I use rhetoric a lot.
Oh yeah, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, no, I mainly put rhetoric out a lot because, like, I'd say that nationalism to me is probably an actual policy within the party, because it's in my belief that if you have a country of nationalists, then you get unity, and through unity, the nation as a whole gets better, and as the nation gets better, then the benefits of a better nation basically come down to the people, and overall the people get better. So it is like if I like with the PPA, nationalism would be massively key, and it would be a key like thing, policy, I guess, in our whole. Yeah, it would be a principle of ours, but beyond anything else, it's that, and it's probably also protectionism. Because I was when we was talking yesterday, Georgia, over that Hearts of Iron game, and I said that my protectionism is because I believe the workers of the nation are more important than the overall economy of a nation, and while both are important, I think if you don't have a workforce within the country, but before automation and anything, before any of that, if you don't have a workforce, a large workforce, and if you have people losing their jobs all the time, then you're not going to have a stable nation. And that protectionism provides that stability within jobs. And I believe protectionist nations normally would be more nationalist than a non-protectionist nation. It's kind of inherent within it. So you get that kind of, again, unity. So my ideology could probably be summed up with nationalism and protectionism, and I guess anti-globalization is kind of my whole, like, if you just had to boil my ideals down into 3 words, then it'd be that.
It would
I don't know whether because you were talking before about whether you use rhetoric or whatever. I don't know whether I use rhetoric much. Personally,
CSP don't.
Well, I'm not talking about CSP. I'm talking about me personally.
Oh, personally,
I feel like
I wouldn't say use rhetoric. I think everyone uses rhetoric.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, like when I talk about Wales and patriotism and nationalism in general, I use rhetoric a hell of a lot. But everyone, I think it's usually for the things you're most passionate about that you use rhetoric and talking points and stuff like that. Just
Sure.
because that's sort of what you do. You spend a lot of time thinking about it. You talk about the arguments a lot, and by the time that you get to saying it a certain amount, it just sounds like rhetoric.
I like to think I definitely do have a couple of things I've got like that. I like to think that for the most part I'm doing logic, reason stuff rather than pure rhetoric or pure evidence based.
Because at least
I wouldn't know. I'm not observing myself. I can't be a fair judge.
Like if any of you have seen the new PPA video,
I have.
like the first 2
Everyone's seen
minutes,
the PPA video.
that whole video, besides that very last bit, was rhetoric. And like when that video actually ended a lot shorter than it should have. It should have had an extra minute on it. But I'm recording it on a shit phone from 2013, which has the smallest video life you could ever get. It had like 3 minutes of video on it. So I thought I could fit everything in, because after that end bit on that video where I said we'd implement a proportional system or whatever, I was then going to go on to talk about the implementation of an initiative system and then reform of the House of Lords, and then it ends. So there'd be like a whole extra minute on it, but it just ended. So I had to go and edit the whole thing. And that's kind of why it just fades away.
See, I don't agree with abolishing the House of Lords. I actually have a system.
I remember this.
If they ever refused to change first past the post, I actually have a system to give the House of Lords a democratic aspect. First of all, you remove the party whip from all lords currently serving, and then you cut down the size of the lords, so the majority of the lords are unwhipped and strictly there on merit, done by an independent commission. And then you get, say, 300, I haven't worked out the numbers, people who run on a party list system. You change our voting system to AMS, and it becomes a mix of subject experts and regionally elected members to go and sit in the Lords, and it'd be the House of Lords, and they'd be elected Lords and regular Lords. Is it Lords temporal? Basically the regular expert lords, but the independent experts would basically create a majority of them, so that no single party would have a majority in the lords. So only actual good policy would hypothetically pass. Obviously, there's still the inherent biases in every individual human being, but if they're independent experts who've never worked for any political party and are strictly experts from their field, from the private sector or even civil servants as such, that's where you'd get the good policy from. So the House of Lords have revision powers over the popular Commons, and you have ping pong and such.
Yeah, like with the Lords, it's either I would prefer abolishment to currently, but I would prefer some form of like actual electoral reform over it, because it's House of Lords reform, and the whole idea that we have an unelected house is it annoys me, and I hope that's shown in when did that video for the PPA the other day, because if you noticed in that video, I started off quite quiet and it kind of built up, and when I got to the House of Lords I was pretty much screaming at the camera. So but like, because electoral reform and everything around electoral systems is what basically got me into politics. Because because I was a UKIP supporter at 2013, election comes, 13%, one seat. That's basically where I started properly getting into everything.
Well, UKIP supporter or not, the notion of a 13% of the vote equating to just one seat should be enough to sort of light the fire of the need for electoral reform in anyone, in my opinion. Like when I was in studying politics during the time of the what one did they get 13%? Was it 2015?
2015.
Yeah. So when I studied British politics in 2016, obviously a major case study for the arguments for electoral reform was the 2015 general election, where the SNP got like less percentage of votes, but like a massively higher percentage of seats, just because the way our electoral system works. and whether you like UKIP or not, it's objectively speaking, it's a farce, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. No doubt.
The only time I've ever seen someone defend first past the post is when they were a member of Labour or the Conservative Party. I've never seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody who isn't like a Labour voter or a Conservative voter ever support it. Besides my mate, but like my mate wants an elected dictatorship and he wants to privatise the NHS and he wants like 20% of. He wants like he wants a 20% military budget. He's basically like he's like a pseudo BNP. 20% of the budget should go towards the military, according to him.
That'll be an impressive military.
Yeah, move over, America.
No,
we're back.
Fuck.
The Royal Navy's back.
But
Bring
like,
us back to
like, because he does politics with me, and the first thing he said around democracy is that we should have efficiency over democracy, which sounded like the most fascist thing I've ever heard.
That's
Like,
All right, Hitler.
Leon, are you friends with a fascist?
He's not
I
a
can
fa-
respect it, but
Is he a PPA member?
he isn't a fascist. He's just I'd say naive.
Sounds a little bit. He sounds like 10 plus 10 plus 10 on your standard political compass. He's not a fascist. He's a fascist, but right wing.
not just any kind of fashion.
What, a fascist? Oh yeah, because centrism is fascism. No, wait, no, I know what you mean. Carry on.
He's a free market fascist.
Free market fascist.
Oh.
As 8 values
Free the
would say, he's a
market to
capitalist
enslave the
fascist.
people, right, guys?
That is the weirdest viewpoint I've heard in a long time. What do you guys make of off topic? Oh, hang on, quickly. 5 people you'd like to see knighted in the chamber. Well, one of them's Georgia.
Oh, thanks.
Dan, I like
I
Dan.
don't,
Dan's
no,
really
it don't knight Dan. That will just inflate his ego.
No, the thing is, like, he's one of the hardest work. He's one of the best education secretaries I've ever seen ever. He's really hardworking. He's just banter.
Who isn't knighted?
Knighted. Yeah, definitely Georgia.
Georgia, I'd agree with you. Definitely, Georgia, you're really good.
And then
Can we knight Clad?
Clad's already a
Clad's
knight.
already-
She's
That can't be.
Oh, yeah,
She's
she's
asleep now.
Clad was knighted like
Hey, she's not at the same time I was.
All the people I seem to really like have been knighted. There's maybe someone I've missed out now. And I feel
What
really
about
bad.
Tofty? Daniel Toft.
Toft could be knighted.
Toft,
I don't
Toft.
know.
I think right. I do believe we should knight Kinso.
No. We should give Kinso like a baronship or something.
A baronship.
Yeah.
Give him an OBE or something.
Yeah, give him an OBE. Don't knight him, but give him an OBE.
I like it. It feels good to me.
Which leaders aren't knighted?
The
What's his name?
SPP.
Ollie. He's not been knighted, has he?
Yeah, but he hasn't been here long enough yet.
Give him time.
Was James Vivian ever knighted?
I don't think so.
He should be knighted if he hasn't been.
He has been really good with his parties, whichever one he's involved with. Because
And Clement.
him in real life, he's really lovely. He's just a brilliant chap.
The speakers better be taking notes from this conversation, by the way.
Are they even here? That'd be wonderful.
Tony, Clement should be knighted. Tony should be knighted, but only after he's had a couple of elections under his belt.
Yeah.
Like same reason for Ollie. You need to get a couple of elections under your belt. Well, I only got one because I killed the Commons, but technically I'm not just a knight. According to Dan Johnston, I'm a Lord General, Sir
Oh,
Knight.
wow, that is an impressive title.
I'm head of the Chamber's armies.
Right,
Come at me, bro.
That's
You're not doing well enough if you don't
that's
think.
a fucking title and a half.
Like I was, because we have a Knights chat, right? And we were talking about it, and I was like, "Damn, what do I get if I'm also?" Shouldn't I be head of the army too? Because like I killed the Commons. And then he was like, "Yeah, you should." So you'd be Lord General. I said, "So I'd be Lord General Sir Cook." And he'd be like, "Yeah, feel free to get people to call you that in debate." I was like, "Yes." So I have speaker permission to go. If next time I'm debating, like actually you have to address me by Lord General Sir.
Oh, God, if you're head of the army, that means you can be Field Marshal. Field Marshal is just like objectively one of the coolest military titles, in my opinion.
It's pretty cool.
Marshal.
What do you
I
guys think?
love the title Field Marshal.
What do you guys think about the CIP leaving the ballot?
Oh,
I
I
don't
think
give a
it's
shit.
Like I get on quite well with
Yeah.
Kinsella personally, but like, I think it's just a hissy fit, personally.
Okay.
Like, see, like, Kinsaler's done more than enough to get permanently banned by now.
Yeah, definitely.
He's breached the 3 strike rules, twice now? So he's technically on 6 strikes.
Oh, geez.
If I remember correctly. I may be wrong. So it's more than high time, basically, that they elect someone different, but they won't because it's a personality cult. Which is nothing wrong with it, you know.
You could just say
Don't leave. I'm in it.
it's a personality cult. ... There's nothing wrong with it.
There isn't anything inherently wrong with having, one popular leader, but what's wrong is when you drag your entire party out of an entire parliament just because you got banned. I mean, he says it.
Personality cult.
He says it was the collective decision of the senior leadership, which I believe. For the record, I do believe that the senior leadership arrived at the decision.
That doesn't change anything because it's not like the senior leadership are,
Yeah, well, it's not like the RCP where we practically rule by committee. It's
senior leadership of.
I believe the term we're looking for is nepotism, but maybe that's.
Hey, no, my brother never made it to the leadership chat. Don't lie. My brother only made it to the transport department.
I don't know what nepotism is. Half my cabinet isn't my family.
I'm 50%.
Are they actually active, or are they just like because you have to have a cabinet to be on the ballot?
Because I have to have a cabinet.
Really sorry, that's pretty.
Mom, will you be my transport secretary?
How many?
And she's just like, okay, Leon.
How many cabinet members are you sure of to not have your family?
It started like.
Leon,
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
how many more cabinet members do you need so you don't have to have your family anymore?
Like 8.
I'm really sorry.
Leon, you can put me on your cabinet next election. See if anyone.
Yeah. Me and George can go in the cabinet next election. There we go.
Yeah, put Cook and me on the list. See if anyone actually reads it.
Well, I won't be on the RCP's list, so I won't be breaking any rules.
That's true. That's true.
We can legitimately make Cook the minister for centrism, and I could be the minister for socialism.
I don't. I think the cabinet limit's too high anyway.
Oh,
I think it only should be. What is the cabinet limit?
20.
20 plus a leader plus a deputy, I guess.
It should be 10.
Yeah, I can agree with 10.
Yeah, probably. Well, that's what an actual IRL cabinet is. I don't know why we have the juniors full stop. I guess it's to get more people involved.
We've just recently, I see
The RCP cabinet's like 30 people, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we've got loads. But what we've recently done is we've rejigged our cabinets into departments.
Yeah.
So we at one point we had like ministers and undersecretaries, and then we had all of them were ministers, and it was senior ministers and junior ministers, but there were senior departments and junior departments.
Yep.
And then we've just done same thing basically, but they're all in departments and there's departmental chats, so it's more devolved in a way, which is interesting. I like what they did with it. I've somehow got into the home department chat. I'm not really sure how. So I'm retired. But yeah, it is.
Well, you and I are still both in the RCP CSP chat, even though we're both retired.
Yeah, I'm still there. It's great. I just saw guys
that's
messaging it.
so good at being retired. It's unbelievable. If one of you already.
I know that they're not responding at all. It's great. It's like I want to, but it's not my job anymore. I'm done.
Every time they go to talk about a bill, I'm like, yeah, this isn't my job anymore.
Oh.
Morgan, if you're listening, do your job.
Do your job. Yeah, the Welsh command menu. We actually have the old Coalition for Liberty group, power group chat still alive, and it's just become a shit posting chat.
They actually have.
It's a centrist shit posting.
I'm retired now. I'm a Coalition for Liberty person.
James and Theo are still there. We started like loosely talking about coalitions, and then James popped up, and I was like, "Oh, hi, James." Like James is still in the Crossville discussion group, isn't he? The chamber, make the chamber great again group.
Yeah, he is.
He's still very much. He's still very.
Fuck that group fucking is awful.
Oh, it's awful. The amount of it all stems from that mental health bill. That mental health bill basically just like set off a time bomb that was ticking in the chamber from day one, basically.
I hardly even remember the mental health bill, to be honest.
It was what kicked off
I
all
was-
the toxicity. I can never say it. Between the AABS and the CIP.
Yeah. Well, they're on that in acres of each other. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was
ABS
pretty,
and
pretty
best of
bad.
friends.
pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But did anyone know what happened with the AABS?
What about
Last I heard, they were supposed to be getting some sort of punishment for what Richard said about killing coppers or something.
I don't know.
Richard got banned, didn't he, or did he not?
Is he banned?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Leon, you're in Grandee chat. No, you should know. You should be on top of this. Come on, Leon.
Right, I'm in Grandee chat, but I don't do anything. I basically like Grandee chat. Right, you're in Grandee chat has two functions. The speakers say something to you that you need to give to your parties, or your shit post. That's the whole chat.
That's fair. Leon,
No.
I remember basically like there was a night where Leon and I were just talking about the stuff we'd written or world building we'd done.
Fortress Britannia.
Sometimes you use it to shout at the speakers. Sometimes.
I always feel bad about shouting at the speakers. 'cause I'm
Yeah,
like,
so do I.
I've never yelled at any of the speakers because they're so lovely. Why? Why do we?
I shouted at James once
Why?
because he annoyed me over bonus suits, and then I apologised like 2 days later.
You talking about James Craig here?
Yeah,
Oh, gotcha.
I've never shouted at, but he's the only person in the chamber I've actually shouted at. In fact,
I'd like to know him better, but
I collectively shouted at the Mussolini meme chat because of the general strike. Because no one was listening to me. I sort of collectively shouted at them and abused them and left.
Strike, 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 strike,
No.
strike.
what do you guys think about what's going to happen during the recess?
The Brexit stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Brexit stuff. I'm going to be doing a hell of a lot more of these over the recess.
I'm going
That's
to be
for
honest
sure.
with you. I'm not entirely sure what to do because I don't really think about Brexit a lot. If I'm entirely honest.
Well, I'm going to advise.
Yeah,
when
the subjects I've been told I am allowed to share the Brexit subjects if you're interested to learn.
I read them and I can't remember
You know-
what they are.
I've got it. It's leaving the that's what it's called.
I'm sorry.
In negotiations for leaving. Here it is. I've got the document about it right here.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
shared it a while ago while I was still relevant.
It's still relevant to us. Don't worry.
Thanks. Well, you're the people who matter, let's be honest. So
Aww.
it's the rights of citizens, the single market, customs union, a future trade agreement, the Northern Ireland border. That's going to be a fun
Oh,
one.
fucking hell.
And future trade deals. Hang on, we've got future trade agreement and future trade deals.
They should be just one thing. No, actually, no, because future trade deals will be with other nations. And the trade agreement will probably be just with the EU.
That makes sense. I've got the options here. So citizens' rights options. You can give EU nationals full rights. You can make sure that the EU reciprocates that. You can guarantee the rights of some EU nationals, but not all. How that makes sense, I'm not sure. And then you can refuse to guarantee their rights.
The second one will just
And
be
then
for certain nations that you would outline. To be
I guess.
honest,
The Northern Ireland border one is fun.
Oh, what are the options for that? Because
There's one, and then there's four more that say this breaks the GFA. Great. Maintain freedom of movement across the Irish border and into the UK. Also maintain regulatory alignment between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. And then there's four more that say this breaks it says don't maintain freedom of movement into Northern Ireland, but keep regulatory alignment. Keep freedom of movement, but do not keep regulatory alignment. Don't keep either. And sea border. Oh, sorry, Leon, your Irish sea border option says it breaks the GFA.
wait, the Irish sea border shouldn't break the GFA. I should talk to Clad about this because she is the GFA master, as we all know.
She loves the fucking GFA with a passion.
See,
back to the first question a sec, before we go into GFA. It talks about guaranteeing the right to citizens. I've been very confused about this discussion because all the citizens of the European Union, all the nations of the European Union have signed up to the European Convention on Human Rights, and subsequently, all the EU citizens will be guaranteed rights under the European Convention on Human Rights, regardless of whether we specify that in a Brexit deal anyway, because otherwise it's breaking human rights.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that. That's why
I think it's the right to live here and stuff, not.
Yeah,
no, the
I
right
know.
to stay.
suppose so. Anyway,
It's not like we're saying, shall we torture the French people?
well, the CIP might agree with that one.
A strong yes.
Shall we torture the French? Is the first example.
They're the closest. I guess Ireland's the closest.
Being far away from that GFA discussion. Fuck. I
Um,
ain't going anywhere near that.
yeah, like, I don't care about Northern Ireland, honestly.
I hope we vote for something that breaks the GFA. Because if we vote for something that breaks the GFA, I get to write an event where the RA attacks.
Yes,
Oh.
let's do it. Right, everyone whip for something that breaks GFA. Tell Ireland to get fucked or something, and that'll break the GFA.
Yes, lad.
Okay, yeah,
Like,
let's
if-
do that.
right.
Let's break.
If you
I'm
make,
not involved at all. I'm an impartial observer.
whoa, she's gone. What's happened?
Hang on.
She's just disappeared.
No.
Oh.
Ready.
Let's find out. Where'd you go?
She disappeared.
No.
Georgia, no.
We have to have 4 people.
It's unnatural when there's no more than 4.
Well, now it's just the centre and the right. Because the whole point of having 3 guests is you get the left, the right, and the centre.
I'm
Plan for this. What do we do now?
I'm kind of. I wouldn't call myself right wing. Please don't call me right wing.
Well, no, you were only, that isn't really coming into effect until not even next week, the week after, because next week I'm having Ollie, Charlotte, and Peter on probably.
Right.
I've got to check with them as soon as this finishes,
Okay.
and then the week after that is when I'm going to actually start like getting centrists, leftists, and right wingers on,
Oh, right, okay.
and it'll be political discourse
Oh,
and
good.
shit posting basically.
Thank you for your guinea pigs, then. I appreciate that a lot.
Well, this one was because you were basically the first people who were really keen, and I was like, oh, okay. And we didn't really actually set anything up because I knew this wouldn't really be one of political discourse. It would be
Just chat.
just general discussion. Which is
Talk to
great.
people. It's so nice. It's so nice hearing from you all.
I was really annoyed the other day that 8 Values gave me revolutionary socialism.
Is that why your name's Revolutionary Socialist?
Yes, because I did an 8 Values thing for that minarchist George guy who was doing like a stats thing on it.
Oh yeah.
I did it, and it came up with revolutionary socialist. So I was like, this isn't right, I'll do it again. I did it again, and it came up with revolutionary socialist again. So, like, and I think we can all agree I am not a revolutionary socialist.
You're a filthy commie, Leon. Now you're representing the left.
Like,
How does it feel?
I don't know, I'm syncretic. I have ideas from both the left and the right.
I wondered why your name suddenly became Revolutionary Socialist. I was quite confused.
I'm not against it. I'm not against a good old revolution. Just
Good old-
depends on.
Good old revolution.
You're
Install.
only against the revolution if it's in your party.
Yeah, the revolution against you.
But no, like I was thinking about this the other day. I was like imagine if a party, like under our system, got like 30% of the vote and somehow got like 3 seats. Like
It's possible.
it
Very
is-
possible.
It's definitely possible. I was like, if that happened, I would gladly join in a revolution. Oh, you're back, Georgia.
Yay! Hello.
I'm back now.
Yay.
Yeah, we'll have to wrap it up in the next 10, 15 anyway.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, so you join a revolution if there was basically a massively unjust vote share versus
Yeah.
Well,
Like-
link to that and somewhat related, somewhat not. Do you remember the talk of revolution after
What the hell?
Trump won? Because he
Oh, yes,
couldn't win
yes.
the popular vote. Now, I had an interesting discussion with someone who was like, "Oh, but this isn't what a republic would have." And I was, isn't what a democracy would have. And I was like, "Well, yeah, but America isn't a democracy. It's a electoral college republic. The actual fact is put that in place to protect, ironically, against something like Trump." It put into place that
Yeah, well, the electoral college is basically like castrated at this point. It can't do shit except.
Right there. Like that.
yeah, it's actually quite ironic when I was talking to someone about it. So, what annoys me personally is a lot of people I have on my Facebook from like high school and stuff who actually used to take the piss out of me for being interested in politics, and then like having a massive interest in politics. My ex-girlfriend, one of the reasons she broke up with me, not broke up with me, sorry, when we became friends again, we stopped being friends again, if that makes sense, was because I talked about politics too much. And she was always like, oh, I'm not really interested in politics. And now all she does is post political shit about, like, Grenfell Tower and stuff like that. And I'm like, right.
Some people might classify that as not being political, though. It's not being political; it's how we live. And I'm like, well, it's kind of political. I mean,
everything's political, in my opinion.
That's unfortunately true.
Apart from, I think the only thing that is both saturated in politics and free from politics is music.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Because, for example, bands like Queen were inherently apolitical in their music, yet Brian May is a strong political advocate. So it's both strongly political and apolitical, and obviously music goes both ways, doesn't it? You have like real left-wing music, you have apolitical music, and then you have like the redneck country music I listen to, which is all about the good old American South.
I love.
Go on, Georgia.
I'm just saying, I love politics and ideas and shit. I just don't really like the discussion as it relates to the real world so much. I find it kind of boring a lot of the time. Like, obviously, it's important, needs to be had, but it's nowhere near as interesting to me as just discussing ideas and discussing different ideologies is.
That's true. Yes. Can we? What do your 8 value things say about you?
Oh, mine is. I've got it here somewhere, I think.
And then I'll find it. I know mine is centrist.
Mine's basically like extreme all 4. It's extreme to equalities on the market axis, extreme to internationalism on the nationalism-internationalism axis. It's extreme to progressivism on the progressivism axis, and it's extreme to freedom on the freedom authoritarianism axis.
You're a very extreme person, aren't you? That's pretty cool.
I am not. I don't have middling opinions on many things. I can find it probably because I did post it in the.
Right, here's mine. Mine's 53.7% towards the markets in economics, 67.6% towards the nation in the diplomatic access of Patriot, 54.2% authority, and 3.0, dead on 53% towards progress. So I'm a centriotic patriot, moderate, neutral. So I'm dead on centrist, basically.
Leon's 8 value says he's a revolutionary socialist.
Yeah, we were discussing that when you went.
Right, here's what mine says. Right, this is the thing that gave me revolutionary socialism. The economic access, I've got 63.4% towards equality. On the diplomatic access, I've got 80.3 towards nation. On the civil access, I'm 52.7 towards authority, and on the societal access, I'm on 56.3 towards progress. And somehow, by being very nationalist and just having a slightly high equality axis, it's come to revolutionary socialism.
It's also because you were highly progressive. Wait, what was your progress one?
56.
Oh, you weren't high. I thought it was 80 for some reason.
No.
56. Basically, you were a progressive socialist, and the revolutionary part probably actually comes from the staunch patriotism.
Maybe, but I think the 8 values isn't very good for like. They take your 4 axis, and they kind of just decide based on some questions. I think all political tests are a bit stupid.
Like, it does. 8 values does say that the name thing is a work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Sapley puts me blue square. Political compass puts me purple. But basically both I'm close to centre, so I'm like definitely a centrist.
Well, like Polcom has a huge lib bias, doesn't it? So
yeah,
like because
Polcom puts you lib for not wanting to gas the gays.
Yeah.
So it's really bad when someone gets plus 10, then, isn't it?
Yeah. Like if you, the good thing about Polcom is that if someone manages to get plus 10 on Polcom, you know they probably suck.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like,
oh geez.
Yeah, like the Polcom gives me purple square, and I hate the purple square more than any other square.
Oh,
so,
no. Very good.
like, I it's blue, green, red, purple.
Yeah.
I
Purple Square was
too bad. I think Purple Square is alright. Purple Square.
I think the two. I'll take the 2 libertarian squares over the 2 authoritarian squares any day, personally.
Yeah, I probably would do the same. Sorry, Leon.
Like I would live in like an AABS world well over a CIP or a CMP world.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I talked about this with Luke in the Mussolini chat, because if you get to like sufficiently lib, you don't care if people want to go and do some other economic thing. You're like, all right, you do you.
Yeah,
Well,
like I could
We're
actually
gonna live like this over here. You can live like if personally, ideologically speaking, if the CMP wanted to go set up a super orth commune, as long as it's only people who want to be there who are involved in it, I'm fine with that. If the fucking minarchists want to set up a fucking place where we're going to do free market crap, that's fine as long as people choose to live there.
Muck child
Sorry?
slaves and muck nuclear warheads.
I think you obviously have to have, let's have some universal human rights, I guess. As long as people are volunteering to have their rights infringed on by a super orth state, that's okay with me.
Voluntarism.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Like as long as you're okay with your rights being shat on by the fucking it's like if that's your kink, you do you.
What if my kink is
I'm
kink
not gonna
teach.
I guess also you do you, but I'm gonna cry quietly in the corner.
Did you think your kink is teaching?
Your kink is teaching. Maybe you should, I don't know, teach adults or something.
No, I thought that's what Alex said. I was like, wait, what? That's weird.
My kink is teaching.
That's genuinely what I heard, because I was trying to listen to the strangers at the door, so my dogs were going fucking apeshit, and then I came back and I thought, this is what I swear I fucking heard. What the fuck are you on about?
Oh, you leave the group call for 5 minutes, and we're already on paedophilia.
Wait, are we talking about nonces? Because I've got my bricks at the ready.
No.
On
I
that
like the idea that just in Leon's room in the corner there's like a stack of bricks with a nonce between. He's ready for the day that the extrajudicial nonce killing squads are legalized.
Q7 Nation Army.
Leon's ready for the anti-nonce revolution.
The anti-nonce revolution must proceed.
Didn't a Tory MP just get done for? Brandon should have posted earlier. There was 4. And I swear one of them got done for noncery.
He got done for doing.
Done for doing. No, but I know one of them got done for anti-Semitism. That's interesting because the media haven't said shit on that.
The Labour Party or this?
No, this is Tory. 4 Tory candidates were still. I think one was Islamophobia. What?
One of them was having a crap. Did you say?
One of the 4 Tory candidates was Cramp on the list.
Oh, God, Cramp. Cramp blocked me. I don't know why. I thought I was alright.
I wonder why you were like. Hey.
I was quite good terms.
You've upset the Crampster.
You've given him a cramp.
Brilliant. I remember when because I don't watch Question Time much, but I gotta go back and trying to find which one it was. But it was when it was quite late at night, wasn't it? And they were sat in the group chat with chatting, and so we just randomly shouted cramps on Question Time. We were like, what the fuck? And then the memes, the fucking memes. I was the one who pinned it to the top of the spoiled ballot for a while. The fucking meme thread.
It was beautiful. Literally, that was beautiful.
Oh god. Pete asked what our opinions on hets are.
I think my opinions on the hets are well known.
No, they're not.
On that, or...
No, all seriousness, you can't kill all the hets. That's not a practicable position to have for some reason.
You need us for reproduction. It's not pragmatic.
No, it's pragmatic. We can do artificial sperm.
No, it's not the real deal. It's not good enough.
How does artificial
It works. Hang on a second. One statement, you need to be pragmatic. Next statement, emotional argument.
Not an emotional argument. I said the natural stuff's not as good as the real deal.
It's not true though. The evidence is to the contrary.
Or are you going to pin all the men down and just extract it by force from their?
No, you can make artificial sperm with like bone marrow and shit. You can make sperm with a woman's DNA in it.
Yeah, but
then
then
you can have your lesbian utopia.
Yeah, but
and
that's
I guess
hard work.
male game can come along too.
You could just keep us as like not child slaves. Jesus Christ,
Child slaves.
I was thinking of them.
All their sex when they turn 18. You don't want any adult sex.
No, you could keep us as like sex slaves or something.
Why would gay people want the hets as sex slaves, Coco?
How do you get
I don't know.
sex slave confused with child slave? Would you like to?
Leon's coming to your house as well.
Have you been hanging around the TMP, Coco?
Well, actually, I am in the TMP meme chat. I don't really know how. I just
like-
added. Their memes are brilliant, by the way. If you have a dark sense of humor and you are not a leaker, request politely to be added to the TMP group chat because fuck,
Group chat.
the memes are dark as shit and they're brilliant.
Am I too nice to be added to?
Probably yes, Alec. You're too wholesome. We must keep you pure for this world. When the world dies, you will replace all of us and you will lead the new utopia of just niceness.
Well,
and Alec will achieve world peace.
I don't think we'd be able to even achieve that. I'd be too busy procrastinating the issue.
Message off someone and now it's gone.
But yeah, I don't want to kill. To clarify, I don't want to kill all straight people.
That's a lie. That's a filthy lie. How
Okay,
dare you?
I know, Anthony. I'm too lib to kill all the straight people. If I were like plus 10 off,
Can we cut
then
that
hell
out?
yeah, I'd be killing you.
Oh, Charlotte is in the chat. Hey, Charlotte, you're very late, and we're
Hello,
about to
Charlotte.
finish. But sup, dude, we
No,
talk about.
I'm not off at all. I'm like minus 10 lib, so I can't really kill people full stop.
Charlotte joined the chat. I can't kill people. You're like, what?
She can't join this close. She's on Saturday
Ideologically,
anyway.
I've
Don't
forbidden
let her
myself
in.
from killing. I think that's a good stance to have, being against killing.
We should have closed the stream just on I'm too lib to kill all the straight people.
I mean, it's true.
Oh,
Fun. Tom, this was really, really fun. Thank you very much for letting me participate.
yeah, well, it's about time to close. We'll go till 20 past. We've still got another 3 minutes in case anyone else wants to say
Yeah.
anything.
So, should we wrap it up, I guess?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. Any other things we missed out that we want to go back and trim off? Oop. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, the het's genitals.
We haven't.
Wait, no shit.
Wait. In your het empire, will you have
Empire.
no, het empire? No, sorry,
Again.
lesbian empire. Will you have eunuchs?
No.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Only
So,
maid,
like
only maidservant.
powerful queens and stuff have eunuchs.
Yeah, but that het powerful queens, no interest.
Yeah,
Not a point.
isn't the whole basis of the eunuch is so that they can hang around with the queen and not shag them? Like,
Yeah,
well, not
I mean, basically, yeah. It was because you're not scared of them taking power away from you, because no one's going to want a eunuch in power because the eunuch can't.
That's really me.
Basically, and that's kind of what it was like at the Byzantine Empire, is that if you're imperfect in some way, you can't be the emperor. So they would literally just gouge out the eyes of their political rivals. Like, you can't be the emperor now because you don't have an eye.
No.
I have a dick, so don't.
There was a little, what's the word? Like a really short poem, a tetragram or something, which this Roman poet guy wrote about this woman who liked sleeping with eunuchs.
How does that work?
Like,
Well,
you
that's
can get hard if you're a eunuch. because
Yeah,
they only
that
cut
was the
boobs.
point. So, like, you can get hard. So, like, but this is the point. It's basically a condom. You can fuck the queen all you like, right? You just can't get her pregnant.
So and it basically says about this rich aristocratic lady who likes having sex with eunuch slaves.
Hang on, have I got this wrong? Because
She
my
wants the flowers of marriage, but not the fruits.
Oh, for God's sake! My interpretation of a eunuch is someone who doesn't have a shaft anymore.
No,
you,
there's no
they
testicles.
just,
No
you can do
shaft.
both. You could be either. They call it partial or full castration, depending on whether or not you still have a pee-pee.
Gotcha. That really confused me. How do you get hard if you don't have?
Chemical castration.
Most of the time, they just cut off the testicles.
My question is, how are they going to pee because pee is stored in the balls?
God damn it!
They just don't need to pee. Yeah.
Power, isn't it?
No eunuchs in my lesbian empire. Only cute mates who are loyal to the queen till their death. Thank you very much.
Why not?
Right then, on that bombshell, I think it's time to wrap up.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
if
much.
you want to have me again sometime, I'd be happy to come
Well,
back.
I'll probably have all of you again at some point. Like I said,
Yes.
I'm gonna post to the spoiled ballot now once we get off and see who else is interested, and I'm gonna set up a list and basically.
What's happening? Who's shaving their balls right now?
Hang on. Do we want to turn cameras on for the last minute so we can see?
Yeah, let's do a face reveal. You ready?
How ugly I am.
I don't
I
have
have-
I don't have a
Been in the
camera.
bath for like 3 days, so I'm pretty disgusting right now, and I've got a bit of a beard going.
I'm not.
But here you go.
Hi.
I don't have a
Hang
camera.
on, my camera didn't turn on. Yes, it did. There we go. You
I
can see
have
my-
no camera. I'm poor.
Terrifying.
I'm poor.
It's so good to see you all.
I will say I'm kind of surprised by your
I'm
appearance.
very
Coco.
poor.
My what?
I'm surprised by how you look.
Why?
I don't know. It's just not what I expected at all. It's not what you look like in your profile picture.
Yeah, it is. My profile picture was recently.
Yeah, you look like a lion. Great.
I'm just not looking at your profile picture properly.
You could be the face of the spoiled ballot. We'll just have your face with a crown on it.
Your face is about circular with all your hair. You would fit
No, you
perfectly.
can't say that.
Well,
It's
I've got
mostly
one
the
as
hair.
well.
It's mostly the hair.
Oh yeah, no, my hair's grown a lot longer since that photo.
Yeah,
I like
yeah, it's the hair. Your hair and your beard is just not. It took me by surprise.
I'm growing my hair long because, like, you know, rock band and all that.
You look
My hair's-
amazing. All right.
No, that
I
long.
like your shirt, by the way. George, your
Jesus
hair is
Christ.
really nice and flowy. It's good.
Yeah, it needs to be washed because.
You're really
you know,
pretty.
Thanks.
Right, I gotta go now, guys. My dog.
We all know what Leon looks like. We've all seen the pictures of Leon in
Yeah.
his suits. We all know what he looks like anyway.
My face is everywhere. Like
You're just like a floating suit is what I picture, more or less.
No, it's like a fedora. It's a sentient fedora.
This has been brilliant. Thank you so much for letting me participate. I can't even deal with
Yeah,
what I'm
great.
doing right now.
Right, guys. See you later.
Yeah, see ya.
yeah.